How's everybody doing tonight? This is Torpid Gamer, and today I'm going to be giving a quick review on Final Fantasy 15. I'm going to name the pros and cons and what really stood out to me, and then I'm going to let you know if it's worth a purchase or not. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the pros first. I'll start with what most Final Fantasy fans keep coming back for, and that's the story. The game starts off strong with some of the most epic cutscenes I've seen in a game in a long time. The music really adds to this effect, and it put me on the edge of my seat. I felt I was immediately pulled into this world and wanted more. The game itself centers on Prince Noctis and his three friends. They really do a good job at implementing the bond of friendship, and I found myself growing a sentiment to these guys as the game progressed. The random pictures that Prompto take really help to make these memories come alive as I get to look back and remember all that we've done. As on par with past Final Fantasies, I feel this game did a really good job at making me care about the story, and I found myself struggling on side quests because I wanted to jump right back into the main storyline. This is always a good sign. The next pro on the list are the graphics. The graphics in this game are very atmospheric and create a sense of immersion as you travel around with your friends. There are many small touches that are presented that really makes this game feel alive, with how Noctis interacts with things around him, or how the weather can change the mood completely. It all adds up to really making this a place I enjoy immersing myself into and playing for hours. Pro number 3, the battling. The backbone of any RPG is the battles. After all, this is how you'll be spending most of your time and gaining XP. The fighting is all done in real time and real environment, which is a pro and a con. I'll get into the con later in the video. During a fight encounter, you'll be controlling Noctis only. You'll be able to equip 4 different weapons, including spells, into slots, and can switch to any of them with the D-pad. Different enemies are weaker to certain weapons, and this is displayed by the color of damage numbers as you attack. Orange meaning the opponent is weak against that weapon, purple meaning the enemy is strong against that weapon, and white means they take normal damage. The fighting can seem very fluent depending on the weapon used. And with Noctis' ability to warp to his enemies, it can be very fun just zipping around and slashing everyone. As more skills are learned, the fights begin to take on new dimensions, and you'll find yourself pulling off some very awesome moves. Pro number 4, spellcrafting. Spellcrafting is definitely a very welcome feature to this game, which gives you the ability to make some powerful spells. The Elemency section allows you to craft fire, lightning, or ice-based spells, with the added bonus of being able to add random items that can have different effects. One being my favorite of chaining the spell, which has a chance of going off up to 5 times. If you're being swarmed by enemies, which happens often, being able to take out a majority, if not all of their health, definitely evens the playing field and is oftentimes essential. Pro number 5, open world. Open world is a really nice change, and it's presented right from the start. With your 3 friends in a car, you're presented with the opportunity to explore the world, with only some minor restrictions in the beginning that get lifted pretty quickly. This world is massive, but sometimes I feel it's a little lacking as far as things to actually discover once you start exploring. Even with that said, it's still very well crafted, and the landscape is beautiful. Sometimes I just wanted to stop and look. Open world games have become a prominent feature in most new titles, and I'm glad to see that Square Enix isn't being left behind. Despite the open world design, it still feels very much like a Final Fantasy game, and you'll be thankful that the option to quick travel is presented for a small 10 gil, because this world is huge. Pro number 6, side quests and miscellaneous activities. An open world of this size wouldn't be complete without an abundance of things to do when you want to take a break from the main story. There are many side quests that usually involve fetching an item or killing a monster that's been terrorizing the locals. Most of these are pretty straightforward and can fetch some pretty useful items, like car customizables or chocobo colors. Noctis also has the ability to fish when he finds an appropriate spot. His skill will increase after resting, depending on the amount of fish caught that day. The fish can be prize record fish, or can be used for Ignis's recipes when you make camp. One prominent feature is the chance to hunt specific monsters for some of the locals. By talking to the right people, you'll be given a bounty that, depending on the difficulty, can offer some nice gil and useful items. Once the bounty is accepted, a marker will appear on your map, leading you to the hunt. This is a good way to waste some time and gives you a chance to level up your hunter rank. It should be noted that you can only accept one bounty at a time. There is no stacking. Okay, now that we've wrapped up the pros, let's go ahead and get right into what I feel is lacking in this game. Con number 1. Bad, awful camera angles. Earlier I was talking about how the real environment battles were a pro and a con. While immersive, it can also be pretty annoying. The battle can span all across the battlefield, and at times you may find yourself pressed into a corner. Instead of the camera zooming out, I often found that I could only see trees and rocks while I'm fighting to stay alive. This would be okay if it happened only a few times, but it actually happens quite often. It is frustrating to say the least. I honestly can't understand why the creators of the game wouldn't have taken more time with this system, as this is the absolute backbone of the game. This has been one of the most disappointing aspects of the game. While the battling is still really fun, my immersion is often broken due to the bad camera angles. Con number 2. The lack of skill variety. While the battles are very flashy, I find that the skill tree really suffers because of this. Skills are learned by spending AP points, which you gain by leveling or doing other various tasks. While I'm not saying there isn't a decent selection, I was a little let down by the depth of the skills. I was expecting something a bit more massive, and perhaps that was my own fault. While there seem to be many skills on paper, they are separated into categories. I feel very limited when I'm putting points into combat, as it's actually quite easy to fill up smaller tier skills. Then the point costs jump dramatically up to 333, even 999 for the final skill. Despite this, they do add some nice dynamics to the battles and exploration, so I won't complain too much. Con number 3. The wait mode. This is by far more annoying than it is helpful. Wait mode can be selected by pressing Options button and then Combat. There you can toggle the combat mode to active or wait. Once you set it to wait, then you must go back until you reach the game again. Why they didn't have a toggle button for this to simply click on or off is beyond my understanding. I find myself procrastinating because the battles can be pretty intense and I don't want to break my concentration. Once wait mode is activated, you'll be given the chance to pause the battle when your character stops moving and then scan the enemy for any weaknesses. While this sounds good in theory, it can actually be pretty annoying. Hitting the wrong button will cause the action to resume and then stop again. Maybe it's just me, but I found myself struggling with this in the beginning. I feel like this was thrown in at the last second as the toggle seems really misplaced with the rest of the skills, and I really don't find myself using it as much as I think I would if it were a little bit more convenient. So, those are my pros and cons of the game. I'm really enjoying it so far and feel good being back into the Final Fantasy world. My quick review score is 8 out of 10. This definitely feels like a true Final Fantasy game, and with the spell creation and the massive open world, there is definitely a lot of things to explore and epic battles to fight. So with all that being said, do I recommend this game for purchase? I would definitely say yes. If you're a Final Fantasy fan or new to the genre, there are definitely plenty of hours of enjoyment here. The game has been on sale for $40 lately, and that's a steal. But if you missed the sale or still aren't sure if you want to fork over the $60, then I would say wait until it goes up for sale again or buy secondhand. But if you are a true Final Fantasy fan, then just go out and buy it. You will not be disappointed. I'm very happy with my purchase and can't wait to continue my journey in this game. I hope this helped you out today. If you're new to my channel, then like and subscribe. I'll be making more videos like this in the future and hope to grow with all of you. Until next time, this is Torpid Gamer. See you guys around.